Today in Canadian Firearms Review, we take a look at LAR-15 mag extensions by GSdesigns. So what's recently became popular in Canada is the use of LAR-15 magazines. Basically what they are is a magazine that's made for a pistol that actually fits inside your AR-15 and actually holds legally 10 rounds. But the problem with these magazines are that they're quite short, as you can see. They're actually about this size right here. That's what you're getting. So you're trying to fit that into a mag well of your AR-15. It makes it kind of hard. It makes it hard to index it in any type of mag pouch, whether you have it in your tack vest, in your competition rig, whether you're just trying to load and unload it. It just makes it miserable. So that's where these come into play, which is these LAR-15 mag extensions by GSdesigns. So now I'm just going to go over a couple of the features of the LAR-15 mag extensions. So these are made in Canada, and they're actually all 3D printed, which is kind of cool. It's a new technology, so we're actually quite excited to get this new technology and testing it. So when you order your magazines, there's two different types of LAR magazines you can order right now. There's the more square type, and then there's the trapezoid type. You just want to make sure you get the right one for the magazines that you do own. So as you can see, they're all 3D printed. The label on the bottom is marked GSdesigns LAR-30F Mark 5 or Mark 3, depending on which magazine you do own. And when you look at the top, you can see how it's all 3D printed and how it's all interlaid, so you can actually use your magazine and just simply snap it on and slide it up. And then it also has this retaining screw which holds, once it's all screwed in all the way, it actually holds the metal part of your magazine on to the actual 3D printed LAR-15 mag extension. So Aaron and I have actually been using these magazines and these magazine extensions for quite a while now, since early spring anyway, and we've actually find them very useful. We've been using them just to go to the range and shoot, just to have some fun, target practice, stuff like that. And we've actually used them in competition as well. We both use kind of two different styles of magazines, holsters, I guess you could say. Right now Aaron's using like a Kydex, more like a Blade Tech type holster, and he's using a Molly type on his plate carrier. I personally use on my battle belt, I use like an HSG Itaco magazine pouch, and they've been working great. They serve their purpose great for what we do with them. So when we were thinking about that, well, they're serving us great. We've heard some other people having some problems with them, so we thought, what kind of torture could these things actually go through? So we actually decided to take one out. We had a spare one kicking around, and we put it through its paces. So because we've been using these magazines for actually quite a few months now, we kind of knew what they could handle as far as drops to begin with. So we knew they could handle gravel and grass from a normal rifle standing height. So we went straight to pavement actually, and we went to just a little bit higher, just about shoulder height, and we dropped the magazine. And as we expected, this passed no problem at all. Then we decided to go just a little bit higher, so we kind of just tossed the mag up. We understand that this kind of wouldn't be something you'd really be going through, but just to put it through its paces, so we threw it up about anywhere between 15 to 20 feet just to see what it would do. And once again, it also passed again. So the third time, we threw it up quite high, and it came crashing down on the pavement pretty hard, and to our surprise, it actually split in half. So immediately after the drop test, we went right on to actually just the walking test, which is kind of a more practical situation, because you would have your mags laying on the ground, especially if you're doing competition or something. And accidents do happen, so you would actually step on your mags from time to time. So actually on concrete, there was no problem at all, whether you're walking fast or kind of putting a little bit more weight on that, on the magazine, there seemed to be no problem and no breakage at all. So after the concrete, we actually went right to crushed rock. You see a lot of crushed rock in a lot of range environments, even just kind of small rocks within lots of ranges and stuff like that. So same test as the concrete test, we set it down flat and we just walked on it. We walked a little bit faster on it, and we gave it a couple stomps, and there seemed to be no apparent breakage, and the magazine extension held up quite well. Third and final walk test was actually just on grass. Grass offers a little bit more cushion, so we were expecting this to hold up quite fine, which it did initially, but once we actually gave it a good stomp, maybe because of previous test, it actually did crack some of some of the edges on the 3D printing. So we weren't going to leave you guys hanging and just kind of be walking and dropping mags all day. We actually wanted to see if we could take this test to the next step. So we got the toys out, hauled the wheeler out, and we tied it right to the back of the wheeler, drove around the neighborhood a little bit. Basically just dragging it on concrete for the first little bit. That seemed to be no problem at all for the extension. It held up quite fine. So we were actually quite impressed with that. So we took it to the next step with the wheeler, and we actually took it to the trails. Now the trails are a little bit more rough, and we're going a little bit faster, and this actually didn't hold up. Actually, at a couple points of times, we did lose the mag extension. We had to go in the woods and find it, but we did find it, and we did notice that some of the ridges and the edges where the 3D printing is pretty thin actually broke off. So our final thoughts on these LAR-15 mag extension is, do they actually work? Yes, they work perfectly fine for what we need to use them for. They work for target shooting, they work for competitive shooting, and they work for just your average recreational shooter. But in all reality is, no one's ever going to take one of these into battle. No one's ever going to take a 10-round magazine to war or anything like that. So they don't really necessarily need to be battle proven. So these, for what we need them for, they work great. So if you own any of these LAR-15 magazines, we highly suggest you check out GSdesigns and check out their LAR-15 mag extensions. That's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, click like. Be sure to comment on the video. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And be sure to check us out on Facebook. Thanks.